Hey everybody, it's Emma Lightning, and welcome to my top 10 worst PSAs. It's very weird to be recording and uploading twice within a week, but yeah, here I am. I'm excited for this one, and hopefully over when I go home for Christmas break, I'll have time. I'll be working, but I hopefully I will have time to record a little more. So who knows? Maybe we'll get some more reviews even soon after this. Before we begin, I want to give a quick shout out to Hello, I'm a Pizza, who is another PSA enthusiast, if you will. He is not only very nice because he often watches my videos, even though he's literally thousands of times bigger than me, but he also apparently has a blog, and I didn't know this until like yesterday. But I was browsing, doing some research for my list, and I found his blog. And I guess he writes posts about his. He makes like top 20, top 50 PSA countdowns, and it was great to finally like read his commentary on like what he actually thinks about the stuff. But yeah, if that sounds like something you're interested in, go check out his blog. It's called Hello, I'm a Blog, I believe. It doesn't get updated very often, but when it does, it's good stuff. Yeah, so this is my top 10 worst PSAs of all time. And again, this is very personal list, not super objective. It's more just, I mean, there are some like popular choices on here for like what people consider worst, and I think a lot of people will know what one of them is going to be at the very least. Um, but I tried to keep it interesting. So without further ado, here's number 10.
What do you put in this vase? Excuse me? What's wrong with your face? What does that stuff actually smell like? How long are you going to feel like that for?
If you've got questions about drugs, talk to Frank.
So, remember in my last video when I said that not all of Talk to Frank's PSAs were good? Yeah, this is that one. This is the one I meant. The concept is fine. It's kind of clever even. It could have been done better. But this kid is so fucking annoying. Oh my god. I mean, no offense to the kid. I'm sure he's a good kid. But oh my god, could you have picked a more annoying kid with a more annoying voice? Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I get it's probably kind of the point, or maybe it's not, and they just fucked up, but I cannot get past this kid. It's just so unpleasant to watch. And it's not a bad PIF, it's just I can't take it seriously. I know it's probably supposed to be funny, but it just really, really misses the mark for me, and I can't. So this is an interesting one because it's very, very recent, and I didn't see the social media aspect of it, but from what I understand, Think was hyping it up on social media, and I Peachy, the another PIF reviewer, I watched her and her boyfriend Alex. I watched their review of it, and like them, I was not surprised, but still disappointed because, again, it's not the worst thing in the world in terms of like production value, and I mean, it's not as cheap as some of the things other ones, and the concept was okay. That's the problem. It could have been done very well. It could have been done in a very like shocking, more impactful way, but they just really, really dropped the ball on this one, especially when they hyped it up because they got people's well, they didn't get their expectations up because like we know what Think is like, but again, it's like it's wasted potential. They just really did it. They could have done something good if they'd spent 5 more minutes in the writing room, but they didn't. It was just no. And for me, that's worse than being bad. Is just the missed potential, you know? So yeah.
They said if I did coke, I could party all night. They said if I did coke, I could party all night. They lied. Find out the truth about cocaine. drugfreeworld.org.
So I first saw this one a few years ago on one of PETA's countdowns, actually, his top 50 scariest drug PSAs one, and I didn't think that much of it at the time. Drug Free World did a series of these ads, a lot like this one, and they covered pretty much every major drug. And then I realized that it's not that good. Thanks to the help of the internet, specifically cracked.com, ironically enough, I found an article where they kind of broke down why it was kind of ineffective, and I realized that it's actually a pretty weak ad and counterproductive almost. And I have a lot of points for this, but I'll try to break it down. Number one, they didn't lie. You were out partying all night, at least once, unless you expect me to believe that this entire montage took place in one night, in which case your parents are terrible for not doing anything when you came home to change and you were high on cocaine, and why were they still up? It was obviously the middle of the night. And even if it is all in the same night, somehow, well, okay, you didn't party all night, you partied most of the night. Oh, what a tragedy. Number two, I get that it's supposed to be showing that how like the night can like spiral out of control, like it starts out fun and then cocaine, you lose control. But honestly, she doesn't look that much worse than like I do after. In fact, she looks a lot better than I do after a night out. I mean, her eyeliner smudged and she looks like she wants to go home and pass out. Okay, I can relate to that. Pretty much anyone who's not a big partier can relate to that. She still looks really good, and yeah, I mean, I hate parties. That I would be a lot worse at the end of that night. And she's crying. Okay, that sucks. But again, that seems like it has more to do with the environment than it does her drug use. Number three, even when her friends are high on cocaine, probably, or at least they supplied it to her and know she is also high on cocaine, they still have the good sense to take her to a hospital, which not a lot of young drug users would do. They'd be afraid of getting in trouble. So she has some very good, very concerned friends who have the good sense to take her to a hospital. Number four, what happened exactly? What am I supposed to take that happened? She had like a nervous breakdown or something? I mean, she can still stand up. They're leaving her sitting in the chair by herself in the hospital waiting room, so obviously she's not super injured. She can kind of stand up, and obviously she didn't have a heart attack or a stroke or anything, so what happened? What negative effects of cocaine are we supposed to take away from this that couldn't also apply to like severe social anxiety? You know? I mean, shit, what here is even unique to cocaine that wouldn't happen after like a night of like heavy drinking or whatever? It seems like the moral here isn't don't do coke, it's don't go out and party all night. And number five, I get that the lesson here is supposed to be like don't succumb to peer pressure, don't do things that you don't know anything about, and don't do drugs or whatever, but It seems like all she's learned from this, like at the end, she's sitting there in the chair, like, oh, now stuff happened and I'm in trouble. Like, yes, things do indeed have consequences. I mean, the thing is, the consequence is pretty vague here, and what happened, I can't really tell. There's something bad, ooh, but yes, if you do cocaine, things will in fact happen. You can't get away with doing whatever you want forever. Who would have thought?
It's wrong. It's wrong. You see me.
In the photocopy room. Right now!
So to tell you the truth, I was trying to find one for this spot, and I didn't actually decide to pick this one until I started recording this video. But once I was thinking about it, like, it really does have to go on here. It's such a stupid, shitty message, and like, I get what they're trying to say, but it's just it's very victim blaming, and I can't excuse that. Like, how did nobody see that was the message they were sending, rather than be careful drinking, which is, yes, that's a good message, but be careful drinking or you could get sexually assaulted. That's a bad message. And like, this campaign, they had some good ones, but this one, it's so bad. Like, there's enough victim blaming in society, and I don't want to get into all that right now, because like, I don't want to get into that right now, but yeah, I don't like this one, and that's really all I have to say about it. Yeah, good intentions probably, but bad message, wrong message, and it sucks.
Oh, there she is. She is such a loser. I know. What a geek. Get lost.
Words hurt. Don't be a part of it.
Oh my god, this one is so Canadian. I mean, do they have real insults there? Like, it's so cliche, incredibly cliche what they're saying, and just the insults that they use. Like, is geek even an insult anymore? I mean, I'm a geek. Star Wars is my favorite thing ever. I like to watch like detailed reviews of cartoons and conspiracy theories, and I'm making a fucking PSA review on YouTube. So I consider myself a geek, and I don't think that's an insult. And like, loser, I call my friends losers all the time. I mean, I just can't take it very seriously when it sounds like whoever's writing the dialogue hasn't talked to an actual I think they're preteens, hasn't talked to an actual preteen in like since the 80s, or at least maybe watched a TV show once in the past like 20 years. I don't know. It doesn't work. It's not. And like, of course I'm for anti-bullying ads. Like, I think there should be more of those. But the thing is, I think there should be more good ones of those. I think there should be more that actually have an impact, and like, you wouldn't also see in like whatever fucking sitcom you're watching. It just really, it misses the mark, and I can't really think of that many like good anti-bullying PSAs, which is kind of a shame. But yeah, this one, it's not. I mean, Concerned Children's Advertisers, I like them. They have some good ones, and they also have some duds, and unfortunately this is just one of the duds. And now we'll get into the top 5.
Yes, sir. So, hello, would you mind stepping out of the car and doing a breath test?
Look, you had 2 pints, you're over the limit. That's a 12-month ban and a criminal record.
Hey, it's company policy. I've got to let you go.
I know it's only got 20,000 on the clock. But that's my final offer.
Oh, I'm sorry, son. I'd like to help, but don't think we can afford to. You'll have to ask your mother.
Don't mum me. How could you be so stupid? Oh, that's just great, Matt. No license, no job. Now what?
So, what's it going to be?
Okay, I'll be completely honest. I don't hate this one. I know a lot of people do, and I don't like it. I know it's cheap and it's lazy, and like Pink Kitten, which at least that had production value, this one represents like the shittiest part of Think's marketing. But it's not offensive, it's not badly acted, and it's not even a bad idea per se. It's just, it just kind of flops. It's a big pile of nothing, really. Part of why I did put it on here is because, like I said, I know a lot of people really do hate this one. Particularly PIF reviewers, Peachy, who I mentioned before, and EA Sports Big 899. I watch both of them all the time, and they both really, really hate this one. I think it's their number one worst. And while I don't share their complete like disgust with it, I mean I can't really argue with them either. And besides, they're British and I'm not, so they definitely know more about Think as a whole than I do, and they probably have more of a reason to be angry with it than I do, and they probably also had to go through seeing this on the TV, which thankfully I've been spared that ordeal, so yeah. It's on the list. It's not my number one, but I can see why it should be on the list.
She's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories where everything was as fresh as the bright blue sky. Now and then when I see her face, she takes me away to that special place. And if I stared too long, I'd probably break down and cry. Oh, sweet child of mine.
Since 2000, speeding has killed a classroom of our children.
Oh,
Shame on you.
sweet love of mine.
You can never control the consequences if you speed.
Ah, shame too, Electric Boogaloo. I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I don't actually really like the original Shame ad either. You know, the one where the soccer football player is drunk driving and he crashes through the fence and runs over the kid. I'd find that one also. I find it really cartoony and shock tactic-y and not realistic at all. But it's got nothing on this one. Oh my god. I mean, the original, it was trying to hit you emotionally. The music was okay. Well, this one, oh my god, the music could not get any more cliche in this one. This one just seems like it's a parody of the last one, and that's not how it's supposed to work. Like, you feel like they're trying to make you feel sad, but you also kind of want to laugh, because it's just so ridiculous what happens. You know what? I think what's actually happening, I think they're taking the kids into the woods for the annual DOE ritual sacrifice. That's absolutely what's happening. They've got to keep their number up, their quota on kids who are killed by cars. The whole thing was staged, and that is why they don't seem to care when the cars start rolling towards them. When I watched, I'll mention her again, I watched Peachy and Alex's review on this one, and they pointed out that the teachers don't even move. They don't even react when the car starts rolling towards the kids, and it seems like they kind of expected it. And if you listen to me, it seems like they planned it. So they were expecting it, and we, the audience, were also expecting it, and we knew, and the DOE knew that we knew, so they were trying to play with our expectations, but they were trying to outdo themselves, but they really just ended up making themselves look stupid and clickbaity. 0 out of 10. 0. No. Shame on you. So if you're keeping count, this is the third Think PIF to show up on this list. And I think we can all agree this is by far the laziest. I mean, do I really need to explain myself on this one? First of all, I don't understand how they could possibly associate this with drinking and driving wrecks lives. It's the campaign that brought us Eyes, In the Summertime, One More Dave, Kathy Can't Sleep, and probably a few more that I'm forgetting. And then this. I don't understand how they could even think that this could be in the same league as that. This is hot garbage. It really is. I mean, I could do this shit. I could do this. I wouldn't, because I have a brain and I know what is, like, at least kind of effective to get people's attention. Like, I'm not kidding. I probably put more effort into this video than they did into theirs. At least I fucking wrote a script for this. I mean, clearly I'm not following it exactly, but I wrote a script. I'm saying words. That's more than they did. I could get a Santa hat, but I don't have one. But I do have my Christmas t-shirt, see? And the thing is, he's a shitty mime, too. Like, I don't know if people realize this, but pantomime is actually really, really difficult to get right. And this guy did not do it right. He looks like he's playing a fucking game of charades. And it doesn't look good. I mean, at least this one has a good message, though, unlike some of the other ones on this list. But it's crap. It really is. And the thing is, he's a shitty mime, too. Like, I don't know if people realize this, but pantomime is actually really, really difficult to get right. And this guy did not do it right. He looks like he's playing a fucking game of charades. And it doesn't look good. I mean, at least this one has a good message, though, unlike some of the other ones on this list. But it's crap. It really is.
You look at me when I'm talking to you! Look at me! Is this what you want? You use my woman? Look at what you made me do! Look at me! Shut your mouth! What did you got? Oh, no! Please! Yeah! Cry!
Fuck this one. Next ad. Okay, I'll talk about it, but what can I really say that hasn't been said about this one? I mean, you know PETA is an absolute piece of shit when the RSPCA can hold a dog at gunpoint in one of their ads, and I still have more respect for them as an organization than I do for PETA. I mean, at least they clearly weren't taking themselves seriously, I hope. I mean, but it seems like someone at PETA really does seem to believe that eating a fucking fish is an equivalent to domestic violence, bullying, and mugging a defenseless old woman. Like, whose idea was this? I really want to know. And beyond the stupid, scaremongering, guilt-tripping, offensively just shitty message, it doesn't even make any sense logically. The fish would be dead. It wouldn't be aware that it was about to be cooked for dinner. I mean, yeah, it might be in some pain when you catch the fish, but at this point, the fish is long dead. You don't need to worry about it. I'm getting angry. And, like, it's not like people who eat meat do it just to see the animal suffer. At least I hope the sane ones don't. I hope. But that's how they make it seem. They make it seem like we're fucking sadists who want to watch the fish scream. But if we could hear the fish screaming, we'd probably... it's the stupidest thing. Does this really even deserve to be, like, analyzed like it makes any sense? If you want to be a vegetarian or a vegan, fine. That's great. I really respect your decision to that kind of dedication to animal rights. I like that. That's cool. And even if you want to promote your cause in, like, a good, normal way, that's great. You should do that. But there are two ways that you should never ever try to promote your cause. You should never ever try to force it onto your children or people who don't know any better, or, God forbid, people who try to make their fucking cats and dogs eat a vegan diet, and I won't even go into why that's just wrong right now. And you should never try to make other people feel like shit for not following your lifestyle, even if you're right. Not only is it ethically wrong to do that, but it's also very ineffective. And if you manage to do it as badly as PETA consistently does, it can even be counterproductive. Like, right now, all I want to do is I want to go eat some fucking sushi right now. But, yeah. That's my thoughts on that one. but it is nowhere near where I'm going to get with number one. Alright, my number one choice is a bit weird. It's definitely, I don't think a lot of people would have thought of this one. It's not a traditional PSA or PIF. It wasn't intended for television. I believe it was actually shown like in schools. And because of that, it is way too long to show you in full. It's like 10 minutes long, and I'm not going to put you guys through that. So I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to show you clips of the most hilariously bad parts, and I'm going to give you my commentary with it. And believe me when I say, even considering that this is a product of its time, like it's so a product of its time, it's probably the dumbest thing I have ever seen. So, without further ado, may I present to you number one.
I'm Lieutenant Williams, a police officer attached to the Juvenile Division. I'm on my way to Monroe Junior High School to talk to a group of young people. That looks innocent enough, doesn't it? Lots of young people hitchhike. Seems like a good way to get from one place to another.
If you didn't already realize, this was made in 1961.
Jimmy played baseball all afternoon, and he didn't feel like walking home, so he decided to thumb a ride.
Get out of the fucking road, Jimmy, you lazy twat!
He'd done it 100 times before, and he didn't think anything was unusual when the driver struck up a friendly conversation. In fact, he seemed like a real nice guy. He asked Jimmy if he played baseball in the park often. Jimmy told him they practiced 3 times a week and played a rival group on Friday afternoon.
Also, my shoe size is 9, I'm allergic to cashews, and my dad works for Nintendo.
And it only seemed minutes before they pulled up in front of Jimmy's house. When Jimmy got out, the stranger gave him a friendly pat. Then he told him he'd see him again.
Do I even need to comment on the mustache?
Sure enough, the following day, when Jimmy finished playing ball, well, the man was there waiting. They stopped at a drive-in, and the stranger treated him to a Coke.
Do you think maybe Pepsi sponsored this PSA? Like, pedophiles drink Coke, try Pepsi.
During their conversation, he told several off-color jokes, but Jimmy had heard others before, and, well, it made him feel big to so easily win the confidence of an older person. The following Saturday, they went fishing together. By now, they were using first names. Ralph said it was more friendly. Jimmy hadn't enjoyed himself so much in a long time. Then during lunch, Ralph showed him some pornographic pictures.
Well, that escalated quickly. I didn't even know porn came in like wallet-sized pictures. And why does he carry them around in his wallet?
Jimmy knew he shouldn't be interested, but, well, he was curious. What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that he's sick. He has pocket-sized porn.
A sickness that was not visible like smallpox, but no less dangerous and contagious, a sickness of the mind.
Well, I don't know if pedophilia is contagious, but okay, yeah, it's certainly dangerous.
You see, Ralph was a homosexual.
Wait, what?
A person who demands an intimate relationship with members of their own sex.
What?
But by now, Jimmy felt a fondness for Ralph, and they continued to go places together.
Well, my friends, you have just witnessed the single biggest plot twist in PSA history. I'm sure it's not very surprising given the time this was made, but this is not a film about the dangers of child molesters. This is about the notorious homosexual. Let's keep watching. It gets better, or worse.
Was generous and took Jimmy many interesting places and did many nice things for him.
No fucking comment.
He bought presents and even gave him money, but payments were expected in return. You see, Jimmy hadn't recognized Ralph's approach soon enough. When Ralph first asked Jimmy to go fishing alone, he should have discussed it with his parents or teacher. Finally, Jimmy told his parents, and they reported it to the juvenile authorities. Ralph was arrested, and Jimmy was released on probation in the custody of his parents.
Okay, Ralph is pretty clearly being painted as a pedophile here, but if you're trying to educate us, you need to fucking spell out what you mean. Otherwise, it seems like Ralph is just getting arrested for being a friendly gay guy who's befriending this poor neglected kid whose parents are oblivious to everything he does. You need to specify what those payments were, guys. I mean, I know you want us to infer that they were sexual favors, but what if some kid watching doesn't know that? What if Ralph just wanted Jimmy to mow his fucking lawn? And that's not a euphemism.
But all homosexuals are not passive.
Correct. As a matter of fact, after watching this fucking PSA, I'm sure they're feeling very aggressive.
In the heat of competition, no one noticed the man who sat and watched. And when the game broke up and the others left, Mike decided to stay and practice a little longer. The stranger joined him. He was friendly and, well, it was better than playing alone. But after a few shots, Mike realized he had already overstayed his time and suggested he better leave.
Wait, what the hell is he wearing? Why does he have a bow tie? What world is this?
The friendly attitude dispelled any misgivings Mike might have had about going with a stranger. He probably never realized until too late that he was riding in the shadow of death. But sometime that evening, Mike Merrick traded his life for a newspaper headline.
Oh, okay, so Jimmy gets a whole fucking character arc and Mike gets 1 minute of screen time. Yeah, that's fair.
Without giving it another thought, Denny got in and the car sped away. Jerry watched. He'd been told many times, if a friend got in a car with a stranger, to write down the license number.
Yes, write down the license number. Don't say jack shit to your friend. Don't try to stop them.
Denny hadn't returned, so he told her the story and gave her the paper with the license number. Being a careful parent, she decided to call the police. Jerry supplied the necessary information, and the stranger's car was quickly spotted. It was a good example of how important it is to always get the license number and description of any stranger who takes a young person off alone, no matter what they tell you.
And see, it's unfortunate because this is actually a good lesson to teach young kids, even today, especially today. If it weren't part of this film, I might even be tempted to take this seriously. But nothing in this film deserves to be taken seriously.
Public restrooms can often be a hangout for the homosexual.
Oh, okay, I guess we're back to that point now. It was a weird segue. And also, remember, only homosexuals can use public restrooms.
So no matter where you meet a stranger, be careful if they are too friendly, if they try to win your confidence too quickly, and if they become overly personal. One never knows when the homosexual is about. He may appear normal, and it may be too late when you discover he is mentally ill.
I could write a thesis on the number of things wrong with that sentence.
So keep with your group, and don't go off alone with strangers unless you have the permission of your parent or teacher.
I don't even know what to say at this point. I mean, I know I cheated a little since it's not technically a PSA, and I know it's from a different time, but I mean, come on. It's just so stupid. And like I said, the thing is, it wouldn't actually be that bad if they omitted the gay angle completely. I actually really dislike the word homosexual because I feel like people who use that always sound either like really disgusted or trying to sound like use the scientific term so they can like further objectify gay people and make them not seem like real people. But if the film got rid of that angle, it might not be like the worst thing in the world for the time. I mean, it's corny and it's outdated, obviously. But as far as like stranger danger stuff goes, it's not the absolute worst thing I've ever seen. And like I said, a couple of things in there are useful. But how can I take any of this seriously? It's like it was made by an alien who came down to Earth, read some posts on some homophobe's Facebook wall, and then watched a 50s sitcom, and then tried to make a PSA for humans. That's how this thing reads. Am I taking this one too personally? Well, yes, I am. This is my personal list, and well, I couldn't really be offended by this one per se, since it's almost 60 years old, and it's just so ridiculous that it's hard not to laugh at it. I was just baffled by it. I mean, it's astounding when you realize that this is how people actually used to be, publicly, unashamedly, and there was nobody to speak in gay people's defense. Or not even people. If you listen to the film, only men can be gay, apparently, because that would out you, and it must have been just a fucking nightmare to live through. And sometimes I have to remember how lucky I am to have such a supportive and open-minded family and friends, and just because unfortunately there are still people who think this way. I mean, they're much less than they were in the 1960s, but there are still people who think this way, and they'll try to teach their children to think this way. And as much as I made fun of this PSA, because there's so much to make fun of, there's only so much you can laugh at these people, because some of them really are willing to hurt us because they don't understand, or they don't want to understand, or they just don't give a shit. And it's scary, really. So fuck this PSA for what it represents. Fuck it for trying to tell children that gay people are less than human. And if anyone has a problem with me putting this as number one, I hope you can at least understand why I did it. And remember, it's just my list, so you don't have to take it too seriously. Anyway, I'm all fired up now, so I'll let this go. Thank you guys so much for watching my top 10 worst PSAs, and look out for my top 20 most effective PSAs, which is coming out soon. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, comment if you have any requests for what you want me to review, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope I'll see you later. Bye, friendos!